Hi,
So, what's your name?
Herbert Roselius.
Okay.
Herbert
Okay.
in German.
So, you were born in Germany after the war.
Yes.
Okay. So, what was it like?
Well, I don't remember much of my first years. It was okay. I was never hungry. I grew up on a farm. My uncle had a farm, and I worked on the farm. I had to do everything: slaughter chickens, eat them. That's how I grew up. Grow crops.
So when you were growing up, you said you didn't have any problems growing up. It wasn't like it was during the war, like that time.
Well, a lot of people had a rough life. Germany was pretty much bombed. But on the farm, they didn't waste any bombs on the farm. The cities were the areas that were destroyed.
Okay. Did you have any friends who were living in the cities that you knew?
No, I lived on the farm. It was only family. My cousin was I had actually four of those, four cousins. They were my playmates and everything. My colleagues at work. We worked the fields together. That that was pretty much it.
Okay. So when you grew up and you got older, you went into the army. So what was it like to be in the army right after, like not right after the war ended, but after the war had ended?
Well, that was after the Hitler era, and the army was basically a joke at the time. There was, I forget what it's called, a doctrine where officers always had to explain why they gave orders. We were allowed to ask, were given an order, we were allowed to ask why. If somebody said, go dive in that puddle, why?
So
And then it ended up in a discussion.
so you would ask a lot of questions, basically.
Well, the whole thing was a joke. Nobody took it seriously because the officers were not allowed to really enforce military rules at the time because everybody was still aware of what happened during the Hitler era.
So was it more of a draft, or did you volunteer?
No, we had to go. There were not enough soldiers. Everybody was drafted for 18 months.
Okay. When you were young, did you envision yourself coming to America at all?
No,
So you didn't, when you went to college, you didn't expect
no,
to
it
go?
was never a real desire in that sense. I wanted to travel, yes, to visit, but there was no intention of leaving Germany and living in the US.
Okay. What did you go to college for?
Electrical engineering
And where did you go?
in Bremen.
Okay. Well, when you graduated college, you got a job, and what was your job like? Like what was,
Oh, first it was drafting, making electric wiring diagrams, but that was only for a short period of time. And then I changed jobs. I started to work for Varian MAT, working with mass spectrometers.
okay. Did you work with mass spectrometers for a while, or did you just was
Yeah,
that for one
for
job?
about 10 years or so, yeah. And I tested those. After manufacturing, they had to be tested, run the specifications, and then installing on customer sites all around the world.
So that's what led you to travel. They needed to do it for work.
That's correct, yes.
So how many countries have you visited?
Oh, I don't know. Most of Europe, most every country in Europe, the US many times. I've been to South America, Australia, I don't know, everywhere.
I guess it'd be easier to ask which countries have you not visited yet.
Japan and Russia.
So, what were your favorite countries to visit?
That was Australia, Israel, and England was always fun, every time.
So, how many times did you visit them, or was it just once?
Australia just once, but I spent, what was it, at least 2 months down there, 2.5 months.
Okay. Were there any other places that were very, like, one of your favorites?
Well, my first trip outside of Europe was British Columbia. That was fun. I love British Columbia.
So, you would say that traveling for your work wasn't arduous, it was very fun for you.
No, I loved it. Yes, it was great.
Okay. Would you ever travel back to any of the countries you visited if you had the opportunity? Say, if you were going tomorrow, where would you go?
I, that is hard to say. Again, where I had the best time, Australia. I also loved Toulouse, France. I had a great trip down there.
So the customs in America were hard to get used to at first? Did you ever find yourself stuck?
Well, yes. And when I ate my first hamburger, I had trouble. I I was looking for a fork and a knife to eat it. It never dawned on me that you just take it in your hand and eat it. Same thing with pizza.
So today you own your own business. How
Yes.
did you come about doing that?
A previous secretary in New Jersey started to work for a headhunter. The headhunter was looking for someone who was fluent in German to take over the US office of a German company. Then that is when I changed to IVO.
Okay, so now you own Aculix.
Yes, the IVO then was sold to a Swiss company which already had a US office. So I started my own company, and that is how it came about.
Was it hard to start your own company?
No, I was given half of IVO as a severance pay, so to speak.
You are living in America. Would you ever go back to Germany?
I cannot see myself moving back to Germany. The living in Germany is very different. It's much closer together. You don't get much space to yourself. But outside of the villages, areas are undeveloped, and it is much nicer. There are no strip malls. There are no gas stations between villages. Here we have 5 acres of land. That is impossible to have in Germany.
Okay, well, thank you so much for allowing me to interview you.
You're welcome.